welcome to this new member orientation. What is it that we want to do here today? I guess if I had to put it this way, this is the place where we would like to put some wings on you so that you can take off and fly as a Toastmaster. Most of the time when new members join Toastmasters, they're just so overwhelmed. They don't know where to go, what to do, where to look, where to find things. And I trust that today you take this video and you play and stop and do and play and stop and do, because that's the only way that you'll get it right. Make use of all that is shared with you today, and do ask your VPE if you have any other questions. You know, years ago when Toastmasters started, they had a legacy track, which was communication and leadership development. When you joined, you received 2 booklets and you worked your way through it. Easy. Then Toastmasters moved on to the digital platform. And just in time, because with this COVID situation and the fact that we now need to be digital and more online, little did they know how well they orchestrated and organized this, and it was so timely. The only problem is often there are people that are technology and PC challenged. And I trust that as we go through this, not only will you be technology empowered, but you will rise up to take the challenge and say, I'm not going to let any technology hold me back. Come, strap on that seatbelt. Get ready for the ride of your life. Let's take off and fly and see how you progress as a Toastmaster. Now, there is a lot of information to learn. I've learned that it's really impossible to take in as much information as I'm sharing with you today. But the chances are there might be some things you know and others you don't that you will pick up. Enjoy the rest of this training and stay positive. What is our agenda for today? We want to find out, why have you joined Toastmasters? And then we're going to just look at new member orientation, what you're supposed to do first, and elaborating on paths. And if you're first time logging into Toastmasters International, what do you need to do there? How to select a path and keeping your evaluations, how to do that. Why have you joined Toastmasters? This is critical. Why have you joined Toastmasters? I'd love to hear why you have joined Toastmasters. And I'm asking this question here. Your life at Toastmasters is highly connected to why you joined Toastmasters. If you join Toastmasters at one stage and you forget why you joined Toastmasters, you're going to lose interest and disappear and fall off the wagon. People that clearly understand and know why they've joined Toastmasters, they are able to, it's like a vision in a company. You know, when a company is being created, they need to have a vision so they can know where they're going, and they try and share that vision with everybody in the company so that everybody can be staying focused, that the entire company can accomplish that vision. That is the same for you in Toastmasters. So when I ask you, why have you joined Toastmasters? If ever you have looked at, if you haven't looked at it, please write it down somewhere. Simon Sinek and his why. He has an excellent TEDx presentation. It's very old. Sounds not that good, but it's an excellent presentation to make you understand why your why is important. And I'm sharing this with you because whoever you are in an exco role, your first priority when connecting with your members is to find out their why. And the moment you find out their why, you keep connecting the conversation, their why, with Toastmasters components that will help them improve their why. But let's have a look at why most people are joining Toastmasters. They do that to conquer real fears. I came across a study where, can you believe it? The number one fear registered in that study was the fear of public speaking. Do you know what the number two fear was? Dying. Can you imagine that? People were more afraid to speak in public than to die. In other words, if you arrive at a funeral, you would rather be in the casket than doing the eulogy. So let's conquer our fears here. Others are for developing skills in public speaking, communication, presentation, networking, and also a high group would like to develop their leadership. Toastmasters new member orientation. This is where we're going to orientate a new member a little bit about Toastmasters. So what do we do first? This is the thing that takes a while, and VPE needs to understand this, how this works well. And if you don't, ask an IT person to help you to get to understand this. But everybody in the club needs to do this first. Okay, so do I have your attention? Here is something you must do first. Do this first. In order to be able to connect with your training. On some PCs or phones, the training page will not open as it's being blocked by a pop-up blocker. So you will log in and you will move around everywhere on the site. And when you click to try and lodge your training, it won't, and you won't know that you're missing out on something. So this is crucial for you to be able to do your training. And the next reason why it's important is when you have finished a project or a level and you close the tab, it will not register with Toastmasters International because the way it registers, and you'll see in the training later, you need to follow a specific sequence in finishing, else it will not register with Toastmasters International website and your VPE will not be able to upload any educationals, approve anything, you will be stuck. So what is this thing that you have to do first? Let's go and have a look. You have to go over to click on pathways, and then you go down to the frequently asked questions, question number 2. And this is what it says. Why do I need to disable my pop-up blockers on Basecamp, and how do I do so? This is extremely important. Now, please take note. Maybe I should just say this up front. When I'm finished with the presentation, I will save it as a PDF because you can see right at the top of the presentation, there is a link. So those are live links. When I save it as a PDF, you will have exactly what to do from my presentation today. You'll be able to click on the live links and go to the places that you need to as a result. Why do we come here? Because whatever browser you're using, you need to be able to allow pop-ups from Toastmasters International. And if you are using EasySpeak, you also need to allow pop-ups from EasySpeak. And this is where you're going to find out for whichever browser you're using, what you need to do. That's where you go to click on finding out which browser you need to work on. For a quick demonstration here, I will show you on my Apple Safari support by clicking on that and taking you to my browser. So can you see that's where my Safari is? And then it says about Safari extensions and preferences. Then you click on preferences there. And then it comes readers and what have you. And this is where you will go pop up windows. And this is where you're going to look for the Toastmasters one. And can you see there, EasySpeak I have allowed. You can see I've got many tabs open, and my Toastmasters ones have been allowed. You just click it to allow it. And that's what everybody needs to do. You've got to go to your own browser, and you've just got to make sure that Toastmasters, and if you do use EasySpeak, that EasySpeak is allowed. I'm going to just quickly work our way through Google Chrome. In Google Chrome, this is what we do. Open Chrome on your computer. At the top right, click More, there where the 3 dots are. And as you can see down, the picture at the bottom and the far right picture. Once you've done that and it's opened the menu, then go down to Settings and click on Settings. Under privacy and security, which is on your left-hand side, once you select that, on the right, find site settings. Click on site settings. Once you've clicked site settings, look under recent activity for the Toastmasters website URL. As you can see here, there at the bottom is the Toastmasters org. Then click on the arrow to the right of it. So we've enlarged it here, and then you can see there's the arrow on the right of it. Just click on that, and now there's a whole list down there to select from. Go down until eventually you find the pop-ups and redirects, and select, change the default from block to allow, and click allow. Well done. You have now enabled pop-ups from Toastmasters International and will be able to complete your training and close your levels. Why should I complete any paths? Let's answer that question. Why should I complete any paths? You have the opportunity to build up to 300 unique competencies. Can you imagine that? So if you are somebody that wants to grow yourself, this is the place where you can grow yourself, but it's not going to happen for you. Because remember, Toastmasters is you learn as you do. You don't do, you don't learn. You can select from 11 specialized learning paths. There's online content so that you can learn anytime, anywhere. You can obtain real-world transferable skills. Now, in your workplace, you might know how to do your specific job. But if you want to grow yourself and not just be stuck in that job for the rest of your life, this is where you can grow skills. You can even grow a skill outside of what you're doing. You can totally change your career. There is such amazing potential, but it depends on you. You learn as you do. And when you complete a project in each one of the pathways by studying the training material and fulfilling the objectives of each project, you will gain competencies in specific areas. There are 5 key competency areas that they have. So which competencies are there? Check if the competencies answer the question, why did you join Toastmasters? In other words, if you join Toastmasters for leadership and you've selected a path that only answers to communication, you might have to make some changes. Although there are over 300 competencies you can gain, there are 5 core competencies. That means in one of the core competencies, there's a huge amount of other competencies, but they can be divided into 5 core competencies. Now check if any of those core competencies connect with why you've joined Toastmasters. And the next graphics elaborate on which paths develop which competencies. The competencies are public speaking, interpersonal communication, strategic leadership, management, and confidence. They are the core competencies. So within them are various other unique competencies that add to becoming a better public speaker or having great interpersonal communications. Now, how does that work with your paths? They have it like that. Number 1 is public speaking, and they give you an indication like that. Now, let me show how it fits with the paths. Can you see, when you see dynamic leadership, number 4 is management, but in dynamic leadership, you only see 1, 2, 3, and 5, because leadership and management are 2 different things. And if you're going to learn to be a leader, management covers a whole different capacity. So being a dynamic leader is not going to handle management. That's why it has those core competencies in it. So this is just to help you understand how the paths were put together, how everything has been put together to make you shine in your personal life and to have much success. The best thing for you to do is to read about the 11 paths. There's plenty on the web to go into that. This is so that you can prepare yourself and make the right choice. Where do you go to? Click on education, pathways, and learning experience. Then you will see this page and just keep on scrolling up. There's so much for you to be able to look into. Which path is right for you? Where do you begin? Begin with the end in mind. Know why you are here. Then you can either do an assessment or you can select a path. When you do the assessment, Toastmasters will recommend the top 3 for you. Choose the first path 3. In other words, you don't have to choose their first selection. You can choose any one of those. But the first path that you choose will be free. Or if you've already taken your free path, you can choose a second path for $20 US. You can choose a second path at any time. You don't have to finish the first path to choose the second path. I like to work on 2 paths at the same time so that while I'm busy with a project in this one, because of whatever reasons there are, I can already finish something here and then I can present this one while I'm working on that one. And then when that one is ready to present, I'm busy working on this one in between the club meetings. Then you may do a different path than the assessment indicates. So where are we going to start? Go to toastmasters.org. And that's the page you're familiar with. Then click on login. And then it will take you to this logging part. Now, remember, if you are a brand new member and you've never logged into Toastmasters International, what do? You have to go to that part that says forgot password. You click on that, and then you will enter the email that you used on Toastmasters International membership form, and then click submit. That's really important to do that, because now an email will be sent to you to the email address and proceed as it indicates on the email. And once the registration is complete, then you can do the final login by going back there, logging in, and this time you will log in according to the registration that you have submitted. Now, here is something that's really important for you to notice. If you do not receive an email, ask your VPE to check on the club roster. That means VPE goes to Club Central, launches the club roster, and has a look, because that's the sheet where all the members' information are, and checks that the email address that was uploaded for that member is in fact correct, because sometimes they would just, maybe it's their handwriting or whatever it is, that somehow when the email address was inputted, that it was wrong. So if people do not receive emails, it's because the email was not correct on Toastmasters International. Then VPE can just quickly go and edit it there. There is a little pencil editor button and you can change the address. So just make sure of that, because that is normally where the problem occurs. How to select a path. So you click on your name. Once you've logged in, it will say welcome, whoever you are, and you go and click on that and it will bring you to this page. This is the way I normally enter Toastmasters. It's my easy way. There are other ways to get here, but this is my easy way. And now you want to go there to choose a path, and look at it. You can choose a path for a member. So if you want to just bless somebody and pay forward, you can go and buy them a path. I have sometimes done that where I created mini competitions and then I have blessed somebody with a path. So click there. When you get there, the first thing you have to do is select your language, and then you need to select whether you want a digital resource or a printed resource. Now, I want to tell you, I suggest you choose the digital resource, as you are able to save the entire PDF. And if you really want to print it out, you can do that. But having the PDF version means that if you have limited internet access, while you're at work, you can quickly log into Toastmasters International, go to where the PDF is, and I'm going to show you a little bit later where it is. Go to the PDF, download it onto your device, and that means you would have been on the Toastmasters International website for maybe not even 5 minutes. Then you can go home, and the entire training is then. You can go through the training material, prepare your speech, and only need to log in when you really need to log in. Once you've selected the digital resource, it comes up to say, do you want to view the paths or do you want to take the assessment? And once you've selected which one you want, then you press continue. But let's quickly have a look at view the paths of options and then click the assessment. Now here, it'll open up this page with all of them, and then you can, whichever one you want to, you can click on learn more about that path. And when you click that, it will just expand that portion for you if you want to learn more. However, if you want to view all the projects, you can also do that. And it gives you where you can expand these as well. Or you can just go back. If you know exactly which project you want, you can simply just go and select it and buy it and say, yes, this is the one I want. I'm happy with it. I want this one. And you end up being in the store, and you can now select and take it away. But if you land at the store and you say, oops, 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 I don't want to be here, you can just press the escape button or the back button to go back. And now you can go back so that you can actually take the assessment. Press the assessment and then continue. When you click the assessment, another little menu will pop up, and there you just select your language and then you click start. It'll ask you questions, and when it's finished, there it gives you your recommendations. Now, remember I said you want to begin with the end in mind. You have to decide, what do you want Toastmasters to help you with? Because while you do that assessment, you want to be able to answer the questions with that in mind, so that the assessment can put the 3 recommendations down here that's going to help you for your future. Now, you can do an assessment at any time. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just that if you have already selected a path, the free path, it will cost you to do another path. However, if you've selected a path within the last few days, you do have a small window of opportunity that you can change a path if you haven't started it. But once you've started it, you can't. You know, it's like when you buy something and you open the package, then you can't return it. It's a similar concept. You can, if you want to select, if you look at those paths and you're not sure about it, you can go and select again, or the same way that you did before, or you can, and now once you get to this page, I want to tell you, and you decide that this is your path that you want, print this page or copy it and paste it on something that you can print it later. I always say, buy yourself a 30-page flip file. Why? For every path I have, an entire path's projects fit into a 30-page flip file. And that page that I just showed you, I just pop it in the front of it, then it looks like that. And I do that because now the path that I am going on sits here right in front of me all the time in the front of my page. And as I go through it, I can glance at it, and then I can already begin to say, maybe I want to do this elective. So I'm thinking ahead of where I'm going. I'm connecting with people. I'm keep on looking at my path. And because if I pay my membership, I need my membership to be valuable and to bring me a good return for my investment. So I constantly need to be looking at my path, the projects it has, to see what is my biggest need right now, and which project will be able to educate me and give me that practical opportunity to improve myself in that area. How do you provide proof of project completions to your VPE? Your VPE will need proof that you have completed your assignments. So how can you provide that proof? You purchase that 30-page flip file. You file your project notes on the left-hand side and your evaluations on the right-hand side. When you have completed a level, you can easily provide copies of the evaluation to your VPE to approve. Either if you're at a face-to-face meeting, they can just go through your file and they can say, yep, I'm happy with it. And if that's not possible, you can take photos of your evaluations and send it to your VPE, and that will enable them to look through it and say, okay, you have truly completed everything. This is just an example. You can see on the left-hand side are my notes. those notes are, as I'm busy preparing for something, I just put some things down there. I never do a presentation and read my notes word for word like that. That's my preparation of my speech, where I'm going, so that if I'm stuck somewhere, I can just quickly glance and I can remember, oh yes, that's what I wanted to speak about. And then my evaluation is on the other side. And here's another example of that as well. On the right side is the evaluation, and on the left side is the project notes. And here you can just see other paths that I've done. I'm busy with my fifth pathway at the moment. If you've now selected what you want to do, then you just press continue to take you to your path. They ask you again, is this really what you want to do? You say yes. You end up in the store, and now you can purchase it. So now you've purchased that path. Where do you start? How do you go further? What do you do? That's exactly what we're going to cover in part 2. How to find your path and work on it. Please make sure you look at part 2.